Hello grade 11s. Today I'm looking at page 81 out of the workbooks. I've left out page 80. This is more of a common type of interpenetration drawing that you would get where the branch pipe is at an angle to the main pipe. Then at the same time they've tilted or turned the branch pipe so that you're going to see the curve of interpenetration in the front view. So this is definitely more a type of question that you would get in an exam. So what they want you to do is start at point S, and they want you to draw the given top view. You'll need to get the auxiliary view. Now it might not be necessary to get the auxiliary view because you could work those out, but you'll definitely need to get the height here by drawing the hexagon. The complete front view showing the curve of interpenetration and develop both surfaces. So let's start with the top view. Now with the hexagon, we know that the length of the side was 22. So what we could do is mark off half of that for the one side, and then we mark off a distance of 22 from each side, which would have been the radius. So that way we can actually find the actual measurements without having to do the construction of the actual hexagon in this view. We will need to do the construction to get the height when we look at the branch pipe though. So those are the measurements that we need. I'm now moving on to the front view. I'm going to leave a space of 10 mils and then mark off my height measurements. I have done a construction of my hexagon over here. It doesn't have to be in line with your shape here, as long as you know which points you need to take. In my front view, they said the height to the baseline here was a distance of 18. I've then projected my 30-degree line and just drawn the edge obviously perpendicular to that line, so at an angle of 60 degrees. On this line now, I need to mark off the line between the parallel edges, not at the points. So I'm going to take my compass now, and I'm going to get this height measurement here from the parallel side to the center, which would be the same going the other way. And then mark that off here in our front view. And that's how we need to get the correct height for our branch pipe. They said that the distance from the edge to our end of our branch pipe was a distance of 36. And there we've got the edge of our branch pipe. Those points we now need to project down to get into our top view. Now as soon as we start getting to labeling our shape, I've just sketched a small hexagon here to help you understand the labeling that I would be using. This would be the orientation of the hexagon in the top view. Now the hexagon in the front view would look like this. So the labeling between the views rotates 90 degrees. So if here was 1, we've got to turn it 90 degrees. So the whole shape turns through an angle of 90 degrees. So that would mean there would be 1, and we could just follow the numbering around. So once again, from the views there's a rotation of 90 degrees. Now, what we need to understand though is then this auxiliary view is now tilted at 30 degrees. So if we have to take this view and turn it at 30 degrees, where would the numbering go? So we turn it at 30 degrees. Where's 1 gone? 2. So please match that numbering up. So this would become 1 and 2. This will become 3 and 6. And this one would be 4 and 5. Okay, so please just be aware of that, how the rotation between views is 90 degrees. But because this is tilted at 30 degrees, we then still have to turn it back like that. So that's how I get my numbering. Now we can follow the points down and find where the corresponding points are in the top view. I'm now going to look at finding my points. I'm going to start with my highest point of the branch pipe in my front view. Theory of 2 points now. So from my branch pipe I'm projecting down vertically. In my top view I need to find the horizontal line. Here comes line 1 and 2 down. 1 and 2 would be these narrow points, which means I've got points 1 and 2 here now. Next I need to find point 3 and 6. So there is line 3, if I was matching up that point, and this is line 6. We follow the same process for point 4 and 5. Project the line down from my branch pipe. 4 and 5 are in the inside of my shape, and there I've got what my outline would look like of my hexagon, and I can complete the top view. There is the outline of my top view. Now, one aspect that can be slightly debatable is this inside edge here. Because if this is a pipe, it would imply that this space is hollow. And if it was hollow, we would be seeing this line coming from point 4, because that would be inside and we could see that corner. But they have said that it was open as the complete top view. So let's leave those lines out, don't draw those lines in. We now need to go and find where the points are going to be hitting my main pipe. I'm still looking to follow my theory of 2 points. So I've labeled where the points hit the main pipe in the top view, and now I need to find them in the front view. So first of all, here is point 1 and 2, and it's been projected. So there's 1 point. Now where is 1 and 2 in my top view? Here is where point 1 and 2 is in the top view, and so I now need to project my vertical line to hit that point. So this will give me point 1 and point 2. Let's follow the same process. Here is point 6 and point 3. There's my 1 point. I now need to find my vertical point. 3 and 6 are on the edge here. So I'll project these points up, and that gives me point 3 and point 6. My last point is point 4 and 5, which is on the same line as my 1 and 2 line, and I need to extend this slightly. So here is point 4 and 5, and we can now join up our points to give us the curve of interpenetration. Just joining up the edges. Now, because the sides of my branch pipe and my main pipe are straight, I would join up these edges with a straight line. There we have the curve of interpenetration. in the front view and the completed top view. Now we need to develop the pipes. So my best place for the main pipe is to project across here. Let's just check if I've got enough space. Now top view to project the branch pipe isn't going to work here because it's tilted. So we're going to also probably just project it over on this side and have to take measurements off here. Here is the projections of the height dimensions across from our front view. I've marked off the length dimension, so 38 for the 4 sides, and I've labeled them according just to my numbering here, A, B, C, D, so that my development would be here in the middle. The easiest point now to find would be C, which is also the turning point. So this is point C, and the turning point would be where this is hitting point C. So project the height across to get the turning point for these 2 points. There are no other points that are touching the corners, so I now need to work out where they are. It is important to remember that we can't take any length measurements off our front view. We need to go to the top view. So in the top view, from point C to get to point 2 and 4 and 1 and 5, I need to take the measurement of the true shape of our main pipe. So if I take that distance from 2 to 4, it'll be the same distance at 1 and 5. I then go and put my compass at point 1, and I can mark it off towards B, which would be the points 2 and 4. I will do the same thing on the other side, which will give me points 1 and 5, because it is the same measurement. While I'm doing my measuring, I'm going to measure the distance from C to get point 3, which would be the same measurement when I was looking for point 6. So at C, I'm going to mark towards B, and that gives me point 3. At point C, I mark towards point D, and that will give me point 6. I'm going to draw in my vertical lines. Now let's follow our points across. So if I'm going to start on my left hand side and work across, I need to find where point 3 is in my height. Here is point 3, and I can mark that across. Next I've got point 2 and 4, so I find where point 2 and where point 4 is. I've got the turning point. On the other side of that, I've got point 1 and 5. Now 1 and 5 are the same height as 4 and as 2. So I can just extend that. 6 is the same height as 3. So I can extend that. And that is my shape. So I'm just going to join up all the points. So I can start at point 1, turning point 2, 3, 4, turning point 5, 6, and back to 1. There I have the outline of my development with my fold lines, and now to draw in the curve of interpenetration. Remember, because both components are straight and not a circle or semicircle, the lines joining the points will be straight lines. To complete the development of the branch pipe, what I've done is I've drawn a line horizontally. I've marked off the width of my hexagon, which I've actually taken from my length of 22, because it needs to be the true length. This distance would be shorter. That is the true length. So 6 measurements of 22, and I've labeled my numbers. Now, just like in our front view when we've developed the main pipe, we can't get the measurements across the bottom here from the front view because they aren't the true length. The same for our branch pipe. The distance down here is not the true length of the side. We need to come to the front view to get the true length because it's inclined at the right angle. So we need to follow each of those points and then come and transfer them to our shape. So starting with point 1 and 2, I take my distance at 1 and 2 and I bring it down to mark that off on the corresponding point in the top view. The next point I'm going to is point 3 and 6. So I'm going to take the distance from 3 to 6 and mark that off. My last point is point 4 and 5. Now, the last thing we need to do is to get this little shape in here. So in the center of our space between 1 and 2, and then at the bottom of 4 or 5, we've got this little part that needs to be cut into our shape. So the line going between 1 and 2 is a straight line here, and we can then find the center and mark this distance back. Our distance is 11, and while I'm doing this, I'm also going to mark this between point 4 and 5, distance of 11. Project the vertical line. Take this distance now. And come and mark that distance back on our shape. And that now gives us all our points that we can now join up. There I have the completed branch pipe of this shape, and that is the end of drawing 81.